In this video, I'm going to provide some food for thought around the practice of using the scale as a barometer for health, wellness, or fitness. And my ultimate goal is just to get anyone and everyone thinking about commonplace practices that, if you really look closely, aren't lending themselves to progress in the categories of health, wellness, and or fitness. So if there's anything that I say in this video that feels tough to hear or it's a tough pill to swallow, it's probably all the more reason for you to sit with some of your preconceptions around the scale. So maybe you have in the past used the scale daily or every other day, or maybe you're still currently doing your weekly check-ins, et cetera, et cetera. So this can be very helpful even if it feels a little tough to hear some of these things. Before I jump in, one last thing. If you do find this helpful, I know it can be helpful for me if you like, save, share the video, so I'll promote that on the front end. And with that, I'll just jump right in. And I think the first thing to establish is the why behind the scale. Now, the why that I will be presenting is based on my decade inside of coaching fitness and nutrition professionally, and the thousands and thousands and thousands of conversations I've had around fitness and nutrition, and the many practices that people have provided me with that they look to or participate in to assess themselves. And so the scale is a very, very commonplace practice, or the scale as a check-in or an assessment is very, very commonplace. And the why for most humans is, simply put, aesthetic based, right? Most people aren't trying to gain weight for sport performance, right? Most people aren't trying to tack on muscle for sport performance. They're trying to fill out their t-shirt a little bit better, look better naked. And on the other end of the spectrum, weight loss isn't usually coming because you're trying to get into a different category in your professional fighting career. It's to look a different way or fit into an article of clothing differently. And certainly some people look for maintenance, not because, again, it's going to help with sport performance or athletic performance and capabilities, simply because it's an arbitrary input that you feel or they feel or people feel is necessary to look at and maintain over time. So a certain weight, this arbitrary input, I need to be such and such weight to have such and such feeling or result or be a different person. So the why is almost always aesthetic. Why do you check in constantly? It's because you have a preconception in most cases about what a certain number means for your body. I'm going to go over, just so I can kind of bring that into why it doesn't work, why it is an unhealthy practice, why it's a toxic practice. I'm just going to go over a few important things. And if you see me looking down, it's just because I have a few notes here. But the three really most important reasons why it isn't working, one is that it doesn't actually get you tuned in with how your body's feeling. It's ultimately just getting you really attached to a certain number and assessing how close you are or how far away you are. So again, you should be, if you're trying to progress to optimal function, optimal health, optimal fitness, you should be getting really good at checking in with your body, checking in with how you feel. Am I so exhausted at the end of a workday that I can only plop on the couch and binge watch TV and pull my phone up? That's an interesting thing to assess, and that can lead to a lot of great questions you can ask yourself as far as why you feel that way. And then you can pick up some really great practices if you want some more energy later in the day or earlier in the day, et cetera, et cetera. Are you getting great sleep? Are you sleeping through the night? Things like that are off the table as metrics if you are just focusing on that number and you're just focusing on the scale, right? And again, you can see this in the way we promote fitness now. You know, sweat your ass off and that number will just appear. You know, don't worry about anything else. Focus on burning and then focus on that number. But there are so many things you need to focus on, or there are so many things you can focus on if you're looking to progress in the context of fitness. It's not going to track changes in muscle. This is a really classic trope, right? You'll hear trainers and instructors or coaches, talk about how muscle weighs more than fat, right? So, you're starting a fitness practice and simultaneously you're continuing the practice of checking in on the scale every day. Well, again, that's ignoring how the body works, right? Why isn't anything happening? Why isn't the scale changing from day to day? Well, this is why you might want to step away from checking in with the scale, period, right? Because you're looking to a number to assess where you're at, right? Rather than thinking to yourself, okay, if I'm getting a little stronger, that's the box I need to check. If my numbers are looking good with regards to an aerobic progression, I'm staying consistent, great, you can check a box. Am I learning to, have energy output, but also do it in a lower stress environment? Am I looking to, am I being more fit, but not to a point where I'm exhausted? Those are things to look at. But if you're simultaneously checking in with the scale every day, it's going to be an issue, because it's true, if you work your little arms and all of a sudden, there's some fat mass here and, a little muscle kind of starts to form, that's not going to display itself on the scale, even though it's a really great thing for your body and could lead to weight loss. It's not going to read or show up on the scale. So you could be kicking yourself for sometimes the best practices, right, are more sustainable, take a little bit longer of a time, but you might be kicking yourself that, well, why isn't it leading to any progress within the first week? You got to recognize that's not really how the body works, and the scale is just giving you this tiny piece of a huge puzzle, right? And lastly, it's not going to give you any insight into your metabolic processes. So, I'll just use a really simple example. If you eat a lot of sugar and you're looking to gain, more health, or you're looking to progress in fitness and you're trying to address your nutrition, and you're so used to, dumping sugar into your body, when you start changing things, you know what, I'm gonna try to eat more micronutrients, I'm gonna try to get more vegetables in my system, more fiber. Same thing. Your gut isn't just gonna all of a sudden change dramatically. That's gonna take time to reset, or to adjust the bacteria that is inside of your gut, your digestive system in general. And the scale is just not going to get you in tune with that. It's not going to track that on any level. So again, similar to the change in muscle, it's also not going to get you in tune with the change in gut health. And again, certain metabolic processes. So you might be getting better sleep, and you might be doing that for a week, and then you go, well, what's the point even, of not watching TV right before bed, or not binging on sugar right before bed, because it's not even leading to results. It's been a week already. Well, that's the whole point, is it's not actually going to get you attached to a routine, because it's, again, just a tiny piece of the puzzle. So that's really ultimately all the things I wanted to talk about. Obviously, this is a brief video, so I can't address everything. So if there's some aspects to this, they're like, well, you left this off the table, or this didn't make sense. This is all kind of, free flowing. Again, if you actually even look at the notes, it's a note card with 3 lines on it. So I probably fumbled and stumbled through this to a certain degree. But I think there should be enough concepts in there that get you, thinking through things in a valuable way. And of course, if you do want to chat further on this, You can DM me if you're watching this on Instagram, or if you're watching this somewhere else. You can email me at glufitness@gmail.com. And yeah, anyways, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, again, a like, a save, a share, all those things could be helpful. And for now, have a great rest of your day, your week, all that stuff. And peace and love.